In the Financial Times, Twitter sues U.S. over account that criticized Trump, by Hannah Kuckler in San Francisco. Twitter has filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government, pushing back against an apparent attempt to obtain information about an account that has criticized President Donald Trump's administration. In a case filed in a Californian court on Thursday, Twitter said the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection were trying to unmask the identity of the Twitter account at @USCIS, which has critiqued the authorities on immigration issues to an audience of 35,000 followers. Twitter argues that users are protected under the First Amendment with the right to anonymous or pseudo-anonymous political speech. It argues in its filings that defendants have not demonstrated an appropriate basis for impairing the First Amendment interests of Twitter and its users. The defendants should demonstrate evidence that a criminal or civil offense has been committed and that revealing the user's identity is necessary for the investigation, Twitter's lawyers add. Quote, the motivations these users have for preserving their anonymity presumably include a desire to speak freely and without the fear of negative consequences that may flow from being identified as the source of controversial views and commentary concerning the administration and its agencies, end quote, Twitter wrote in a complaint. The lawsuit sets the technology industry up for what could be its first major legal clash with the new administration. Business leaders from traditionally democratic Silicon Valley have already spoken out against the actions of Mr. Trump, in particular his immigration ban, and funded legal campaigns from the American Civil Liberties Union, but their companies have yet to be directly involved in a court case. Twitter has previously pushed back to protect free speech on its platform. Mr. Trump is an active user of Twitter with the handle @RealDonaldTrump, taking to the messaging platform to talk about his policies, comment on news stories, and criticize the mainstream media to his 27.4 million followers. He told the Financial Times this week without Twitter, he would not be in the White House. The @USCIS account, which is still live and attracted more followers on Thursday, describes itself as immigration resistance based in D.C. At the time Twitter received the summons, the account described itself as official inside resistance, suggesting perhaps it was run by someone inside the department. However, it also said it was not expressing the views of either the department or the customs agency. The user has tweeted on a range of subjects beyond immigration, criticizing Trump administration policies on health care and the president's top advisors. The user is one of several accounts purporting to be an alternative agency, such as Alt Labor, which comments on the U.S. Department of Labor, and BLM Alt, which tweets about the Federal Bureau of Land Management. The ACLU said it was glad to see Twitter pushing back against the request. Quote, we'll be going to court to defend this user's rights to anonymous speech, end quote, it tweeted. The Department of Homeland Security and the Customs Agency did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Shares in Twitter were flat in after-hours trading in New York. So go Twitter, I guess. The guy got Donald by the you-know-whats, by the cojones. Because he needs Twitter. Is there an alternative to Twitter he could use? Do you think he would be as successful on Facebook? I don't think so. I don't think people have the same relationship to Facebook. They go to Facebook intentionally, whereas Twitter generally comes to you. And because of the short format, you're not that upset about the intrusion. I don't see the argument here. I mean, I get what he's saying, right? First, it's completely hypocritical, but I get what he's saying. He's saying, this person is inside and they're claiming to be something that they're not or whatever, but it's not like copyright infringement to use this kind of government stationery as long as you clearly identify that you are not an actual member of the government. Twitter's not going to put a little check mark. Everything you're doing can be considered, anonymous behavior, maybe even satire, depending on what direction you take it. If, however, I guess the administration found that those Twitter accounts were beginning to release inside information that wasn't supposed to be released, rather than it could be some rogue, embittered janitor or something at the Bureau of Land Management just, mouthing off, right? If they can show that he's actually releasing some information, then Twitter would probably cooperate. But just relieving it to relieve it. Another story, because I read a couple stories to get to the one I want, said that the argument that they were getting Twitter on was supposedly something to do with like commerce or like goods, because it was the Customs Bureau. The Customs Bureau is who was requesting this unmasking, and Twitter's like, this has nothing to do with commerce. This person is not doing anything commercial on our platform. So I guess it's a good sign. I never want to be too enthusiastic with this kind of corporate stuff, but it is interesting to know that they do have some legs to stand on, because what's Donnie going to do? What's he going to do, huh? Go to, What other platforms are there? I don't even know. He's going to have to get a MySpace.